Yes, live and in the flesh today. Episode 8 of the Rondo. Ryan is my name. And as always, with my guy Josh Parrish, who dropped off some moving boxes for me. Josh, welcome. This is the first episode live and in the flesh.
It's amazing to be in your presence, Ryan. Thank you for selecting me as your government-mandated special friend. It's an honour and a privilege. And if it sounds a bit echoey today, it's because Ryan has literally no furniture in his new apartment, and therefore we have to sit on the floor to do the podcast.
First of all, not an apartment. Put some respect on my name.
Okay, it's a house. It is actually a hell of a house, but you know.
It's a nice house.
Don't want to flex too hard on the listeners, but this guy's rolling in it.
Baby, we made it. We had a nice Thai dinner before this, so we're both feeling a bit groggy, a bit sleepy.
Yeah, I think it's the MSG or something. We just wanted a nap after that, but we've got an episode to record. The people want it. It's going to get out there one way or another.
It's true. The people do want it. We have a few new subscribers. So a big hello to everyone that's new to the show. And I want to start off again in the world of FIFA. And FIFA, but I mean PlayStation.
I mean, everything's in the world of FIFA.
I guess so. So you know how I started Rondo United in career mode? And you were like, no one wants to watch us, track this team from League 2. You were right, because I got pretty bored playing with the regens. So I simmed it. We won. So my rule was...
I simmed it.
I simmed it. And then bear with me. For the FIFA purists, it's tough. They're all regen players, and it's really rough. And the new FIFA's a bit broken. Let us know in the comments below. It's broken.
Is it more broken than eFootball?
Not that broken.
Okay.
This is pretty broken. The goalkeepers make intense saves, and defending is ridiculous. So, but my rule was I was going to sim, and if I lost the sim, I couldn't restart it. Because there's someone that we know, and he'll know that I'm talking about him, but I'm not going to mention his name, that if he loses, he restarts. That's all I'm going to say. If he loses a game of FIFA against, he restarts. You know what I'm talking about.
That's called save scumming, and it's frowned upon.
So we did get promoted to League 2.
Get in.
And then after that...
With no deserving accomplishments along the way, just the numbers in the computer.
Al Hassan Toure, top scorer of the league.
Ooh.
30 goals or something, 30 odd goals.
And to think in real life, Adelaide United have just let him walk to MacArthur.
And I signed all three of Adelaide United's young guns, Al Hassan Toure, Mo Toure, and Yaya Dukouli.
Ooh, he's got pace.
Yeah, so it's rapid front three.
Nice.
And no offense to the three of you, but in the game, you can't finish. Which made it very rough, which is also why I simmed League 1.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so we got promoted again. League 1, now we're in the championship, and now I'm playing the games. And there's some players that I'll introduce you, because you'll know. Because now I've got a bit of money.
You're splashing the cash around a little bit.
Cash around, And first cab off the rank for you, Todd Cantwell.
Nice.
I just needed a bit of flair,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just hit the woe every now and again.
Guy who wears headphones in the warm-up.
It's something I would do, to be honest.
His hair is so immaculate at the end of the game, it doesn't look like he's run at all. It's amazing.
Maybe he has.
And then you look at us, having not had haircuts for months and months, looking scraggy as hell.
And you wanted me to take my hat off, which is a ridiculous ass. My brand is I always have something on my head. You know that.
That is true.
You know that one time I played indoor soccer with a beanie on my head.
You will do that? You've played indoor soccer with a snood, I believe?
Yeah. I just think...
He likes to accessorize on the field.
I just want to be comfortable. Anyway, so Todd Cantwell is the guy. I've also made a signing. Where else? Up top, believe it or not, Diego Simeone's son, Giuliano Simeone.
Oh.
Which
not Giovanni?
He's got multiple sons.
Oh, okay. So you signed the bad one.
Oh, 72 overall.
Okay, all right. That's all right.
20 odd years old.
All right.
He actually joined us in League 1 and he ousted Al Hassan Toure when I was sending stuff. But then to actually play with him is a bit different. So I subbed Toure on for the pace.
There we are.
And another notable signing at centre back, I got Per Schuurs from Ajax. Just some Dutch guy.
Some Dutch bloke.
77 overall. He's like one of our better players.
Is he a man mountain, like a Jaap Stam? Or is he a...
Can't win headers though. I don't get it.
Oh.
I just don't know how to play FIFA, must be.
So he's a bit like you.
All right. So anyway, moving
so
on.
tall, doesn't really get that much interest in the aerial ball.
Speaking about centre backs though, Josh, because we were texting over the weekend, and for people that have watched every single episode, it's not that we want to talk about Manchester United and Yaz every single time. It just happens naturally. And naturally, talking about centre backs, Harry Maguire was a shit show on the weekend against Leicester, but he wasn't fit, you know, in his defence. But it does bring up the question of where are United now after that performance? Because I don't know what you think, but watching it at 3 a.m., I would have much rather been asleep. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I did sleep for a little bit, slept through a little bit.
Because dozing on and off.
It was just a shocking performance.
I mean, from a neutral perspective, it was an unbelievable game.
Yes.
Stunning goals, just end-to-end Premier League style chaos with no one managing to control anything or have any sort of tactical sensibility about the whole thing. It was every reason we love the Premier League, just mad chaos ball end-to-end. But that's kind of where United are at. I mean, I've seen a lot of comments calling them Vibes FC, and that's pretty accurate.
I mean, it was tough to watch. I mean, look, Mason Greenwood, Yuri Tielemans. I mean, all the goals were crackers, to be fair. But a lot of defensive errors at the back. I don't think we controlled the game at all.
No.
We got carved up.
Well, you conceded a goal straight
after.
So that shows you that the side is either completely ill-disciplined or totally unprepared for basic scenarios, like a kickoff. You should know how to set up and defend from a kickoff. And the way that Aaron Wan-Bissaka just went kamikaze sliding after that guy and took him out. I mean, everyone forgot. I don't think he even got a yellow card because they played on and scored and the referee probably forgot about it. But, I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know about the laissez-faire attitude that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has to coaching this team.
And so here's my question to you, right? Because I think that personally, and this is my own opinion, Ollie brings the good vibes. He brings the nostalgia. We've talked about this in previous episodes. You can watch them at your leisure.
Absolutely.
But tactically, it seems that if the 4-3-3 doesn't work, he has nowhere else to go.
No.
There's no other plan. There's no a tweak of formation. There's no message from the sidelines that goes, if this is not working, this is what we do after that. And beyond that, it's a pattern, right? We see this game after game after game. But my worry is that now in a run of tough fixtures coming up, you've got Liverpool next weekend. I think, are they playing Chelsea in some point in that?
Yes, it's Atalanta Champions League, which by the time you watch this may have already happened.
Yeah. So a big run of games, and we know that if there's one thing Ollie can do, is that he can pull the cat out of the bag.
When the chips are down is when Ollie brings his best.
He seems to channel that Champions League win over Bayern Munich and add it to it. And he gets it done. And it papers over the cracks, right? It papers over the cracks of we just aren't playing good football, even though you have the talent. Like, we don't have to talk about the names anymore because we've said them so many times. One giant name in particular.
Yes.
That even though I've criticized for the lack of pressing, he should, by nature, make any team that he joins better.
And it's arguably had the opposite effect.
So where are we at with Manchester United? Does Ollie stay? Or if he papers over the cracks, do we just get stuck in this cycle of mediocre performances until the big games where he just, I don't know what he says to them to get them up?
Well, I mean, it was a disaster class against Leicester. Let's talk about that specifically because Maguire rushed back in the starting lineup. I mean, how would you feel if you're Eric Bailly?
Yes.
Like, he's just no go anymore after that shellacking against Tottenham last year, I think.
Yeah.
He's obviously a backup player, not a starting caliber centre-back for Manchester United, but this was a game where you needed to play him because your captain was obviously totally unfit and unprepared for the fixture. He was at fault for 3 of the 4 goals.
Yeah.
3 out of 4.
He didn't look good. And I'm not a Harry Maguire hater. You know, like, I think he's decent. Is he 80 million worth? Maybe not.
He's decent when he has protection in front of him. And you see it for England, they usually play with 2 stoppers in front of the back 4, and he doesn't get exposed like he can. There was talk before the game that Ollie might actually tweak the formation. He might go to a back 3 just to shield the Bailly Lindelof combination that didn't end up being part of the plan. But he decided not to do that. And, you know, that might have worked well against Leicester. Leicester also play a back 3.
Yep.
So there's a match-up there numerically across the field. We've seen it in Ollie's early reign at United in some Champions League games. He would go to 5 at the back.
Yep.
Often with Diego Dallo or someone as a wing back because Wan-Bissaka is clearly not wing-back caliber.
Yes.
Like, he just doesn't have the attacking contribution that you need from someone operating on a flank on their own. But he decided against it and stuck with the shape that he has for nearly his entire reign, with Matic playing.
Remind us again what the shape is.
It's 4-2-3-1 with Bruno as the 10. 4-3-3 if you like. It just depends on the positions that the players take up. But, you know, again, it looked very disjointed. It looked very reliant on individuals and creative inspiration to make things happen, or just sheer brilliance like Mason Greenwood's bomb from about 25 yards into the top corner. There was so much forced crossing to Ronaldo at the back post, 45-degree angle early crosses that were either overhit, underhit, but it didn't matter about the quality of the delivery because the defence was expecting it every single time, and so they were shaping with 2-3 players in that area. So even if the delivery from Wan-Bissaka, for example, from the right had been perfect, United still probably wouldn't have scored because the defence is expecting it all the time. So the only time that United are able to create clear chances is when something unexpected happens. And they've got the quality in the starting 11 to get by sometimes on those moments. But it was just so clearly absent the clear plan that you need to beat a team as well coached as Leicester. And honestly, he's been a bit of a punchline in recent years, but Brendan Rodgers would be doing a far better job, regardless of his slightly deleted press conferences, than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would. I mean, he clearly has a system. He clearly has an idea of how he wants his team to progress the ball and how he wants his team to play. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for all of his deflections in press conferences, for all of his appeals to the great Sir Alex Ferguson in the good old days, seems to have no idea why those teams in the good old days were so successful that he played in.
And it's interesting as well, in Pogba's post-match conference, he also mentioned that they don't know why they can't win and perform to the level that you'd expect of those big names. And here's a controversial idea for you, because I am a bit of a Victor Lindelof fan.
Yeah.
And because I think back in when he was playing at Benfica back in the day, he was their set piece taker. I think he was a nice ball playing centre back, and then he arrived, and the United way recently is just to kill good people that come.
Every talent coming through the doors bright-eyed and ready to tear up the Premier League is suddenly demoralised about 3 months in.
And you think about like players like Fred, Diogo Dalot. Like, I don't think they came and they were shit players.
No.
Or people that made them butt of their jokes. They came because they could play football. But for some reason they've come to the club and now they're the butt of all the jokes. And Dalot can't get a look in, even though he played at Milan consistently. But I think with Victor Lindelof, and here's my proposal to you. You know how we're missing a centre defensive midfielder? Let's just push him up.
All right.
Into centre defensive, because he was the one that played that ball to Marcus Rashford.
True.
Right?
Atrocious defending from Leicester, who are not an amazing side this season. They've had their problems, but United made them look, like geniuses. Yeah. And that ball was a clear indication of the weaknesses that can be exploited in that side, but were not identified in whatever pre-match scouting was done.
But I also think about like the ball that he played to Bruno Fernandes against Newcastle. Yeah. Fernandes' goal. Oh,
it's true.
Whatever.
There was a good pass in that match, I remember.
Yeah. So why not? If McFred is not working, Paul Pogba is clearly not being used in that position, why not try Victor Lindelof there? Because, surely he has the defensive understanding to be able to pull it off, the passing range clearly to do it. He took set pieces for Benfica when he played in Portugal. Let's try something different, Ollie. Why, 4-3-3, if you don't want to move from that, that's fine. But let's change the personnel up a little bit.
I just don't think Ollie is brave enough manager to do anything unconventional, like shifting a player's position radically. The closest he's come to doing that is probably playing Pogba as a left winger, which wasn't really where he was playing. He was drifting inside and playing a free role. So it was just a way of relieving defensive burden on Paul Pogba. So that's the most creative decision he's made in his time in charge, and arguably that did work. In some games, even if, exposed the limitations of the midfielders who came in to replace Pogba in that area of the pitch. The problem is that you've got two players in the United first team who are so difficult to accommodate tactically.
Chat to me.
One of them is obviously Paul Pogba, who has had more think pieces written about his best position than I think any other player in the last decade. And the quandary of how he's so effective at international level when he's actually got N'Golo Kante alongside him, and back in the 2018 World Cup when they won, Blaise Matuidi on the left doing all of his...
And before you continue, right, I think this is also... Actually, no, I'll let you continue because I feel like this thought will flow on better with your next.
Okay, well, that's one player who's very difficult to accommodate, and you need the right balance around them to make it work.
Who's the next player, Bubba?
I mean, who do you think?
Who is it?
It's Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo, who is not a conventional centre forward in the sense that he doesn't play with his back to goal. He doesn't do the pressing. We've talked about the numbers. He is a kind of goal hanger at this point, and
sounds very derogatory.
Well, look, he's won multiple Champions Leagues doing that, but the creative burden in the team, the creative burden, not the finishing burden, not the scoring burden, but the creative burden was never on his shoulders. He usually had a centre forward in Karim Benzema, who was an expert in basically creating space for Ronaldo as a kind of decoy runner and back to goal player, and they complemented each other so well because it was Benzema doing all the little things and Ronaldo always getting to the scoring positions after Benzema had drawn someone out of position or what have you. They also had a generational midfield trio in Kroos, Modric, Casemiro, which is it's like the roof of the Sistine Chapel of midfields. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And they had fantastic fullbacks most of the time in those teams that would pick up the slack for Ronaldo if he was nominally playing on a flank and not tracking back. They could get Casemiro across the cover, or Marcelo in his pomp was running the whole left flank on his own. So they had ways to accommodate Ronaldo, and I don't think Juventus ever cracked the code quite. They were able to win league titles in a Serie A that was still getting back to its peak. Yeah. But last season they were brutally exposed.
And think about the players that surrounded Ronaldo when he was first at Manchester United. Park Ji-sung, Michael Carrick, Carlos Tevez, Wayne Rooney. Players that sacrificed parts of their game to accommodate the fact that he was Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yes, and he was a different player back then.
100%.
This is late career Ronaldo we're talking about. Peak Ronaldo was a force of nature who didn't need any help. Yeah. Peak Ronaldo was somebody who could dominate matches in a multitude of ways. Yeah. And as he's grown older, he has limited his sphere of influence to basically the penalty area. And that
sphere of influence.
He's become smaller in here, and he's narrowed his focus, let's say. And it is resulted in extraordinary goal numbers and extraordinary longevity at the top of the game. But I have a friend who is a very keen observer of football and a coach as well. Yep. And he refers to Ronaldo's play of late, probably since he went to Juventus and maybe the latter couple of years at Real Madrid, as what he calls martyr ball, which is basically Ronaldo getting the opportunity to get all the plaudits and all the goals, but the rest of the team sort of dying for him, sacrificing.
Yes.
And
you're going to cop some heat.
If the current pattern at United continues and they're unable to find a solution to accommodate Ronaldo and still be competitive in modern football, which has changed so much in the last few years tactically, you can argue that Ronaldo is the martyr at United again. And he probably won't get the blame. Ole will get the blame, but the next coach who comes in has got to be an innovator. There's got to be someone with a really strong personality who can shift Ronaldo's position around or change the shape or try, more inventive things like, Lindelof as a defensive midfielder if they have to. So he has the strength of personality and the ambition to be able to come up with creative solutions and not worry about the flack when they go wrong. Because I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has the mettle to be able to carry the can for that kind of gamble.
And Josh, I accept the job. Because in FIFA, I moved Todd Cantwell from his preferred left wing position into the 10, and I got plaudits for it and won Manager of the Month. So if the Glazers are looking for another manager. Look, I don't care for the headlines. You know, I just want to see Manchester United do well, and I've got a proven track record, taking a team from League 2 to the Championship, playing people out of position for the better of the team, and yes, I'm happily cop the flack for that.
Now, you can't hear the microphones, right? But you went full like ASMR there.
Oh, did it? Yeah,
right
well, you know, I hope that's convincing enough.
You went right, like, invasively deep into my eardrums.
And I feel that the people that run Manchester United need that kind of, you know, because it's been a long time. It's been a long time since Fergie left, and if the overall noise and, you know, collective groans of United fans over time, and not necessarily on Oli and Ronaldo, but like the way that money's been spent, because I also hate hearing, oh, we just need to spend a little bit more here, a little bit more. If all that doesn't work, let me get deep into your ears and talk real smooth, and hopefully that helps. Yeah, I hope that helps. But it's interesting that you talk about Marta Ball and the individual plaudits, because something that got a few of our viewers a bit riled up was when we talked about Mo Salah, whether we obviously used Ronaldo as a comparison, but we also talked about Player of the Month and Ballon d'Ors and all that kind of thing. And now the Ballon d'Or is creeping up, and we've talked enough about the people nominated for it. But I want to talk about Edouard Mendy. And
yes, indeed.
There's been a lot said about him not being on the list. Obviously, Gianluigi Donnarumma is the only goalkeeper to be nominated of the 30 on that short list. Had an interesting conversation with a friend the other day that mentioned, you know, what does a player like Edouard Mendy have to do to get on that list? Won the Champions League, obviously, with Chelsea, and I don't know if many of you saw, but against Brentford, Chelsea went 1-0 up and then had sustained a siege.
Yeah.
In that second half, 17 shots, and they couldn't get past one man, Edouard Mendy. What does a goalkeeper like him have to do to get that recognition that most people feel that he deserves?
Well, you only have to look at his impact versus the previous incumbent of the number 1 jersey at Chelsea to see just how good he is. Because I know Kepa Arrizabalaga is a bit of a punchline, but they went from a team that conceded nearly every shot on target to the best defence in Europe.
Yes.
Pretty much overnight. And some of that is Thomas Tuchel's influence. Some of that is empowering the likes of Antonio Rudiger, who I think is emerging as perhaps the best pure defender in world football. But a lot of that is down to Edouard Mendy, who's just a great shot stopper. Yes. He's the pure goalkeeper. And I think those kinds of keepers are a little bit underrated now in this world of Allisons and Edisons who want to play halfway up the pitch and they want to run out to everything. And when you've got a guy who's actually just got kind of Inspector Gadget extendo limbs,
incredible,
he's phenomenal. And he also seems to have immediately commanded some respect at a club that it's not always easy to stamp your authority upon, because he really yells at his centre-backs if you watch him on the field. But he's not like a Jordan Pickford type who seems to look absolutely furious whenever he has to make a save and do his job. He's always that kind of pump-up goalkeeper who's always like clapping his hands and congratulating defenders for last year's challenges and stuff. So they seem to have built a really strong, talk about a siege they were under against Brentford, a bit of a siege mentality in that back three plus goalkeeper. I think he's been phenomenal. Chelsea won the Champions League out of absolutely nowhere after Lampard was sacked and they had a manager take over mid-season. And, you know, honestly, Edouard Mendy was a huge part of that. So I would love to see defenders and goalkeepers 100%. Get more respect when it comes to the Ballon d'Or.
Because let's take a look at this list. And I want to just run some names by you, all right? There's people that I don't think are as deserving as Edouard Mendy. So let's take a look at the very top here. Nicolo Barella.
Oh, Barella was good. He had a good season. Look,
Come on.
Italy obviously won the Euros, so that's a huge factor. And Inter won Serie A. He was an important player in both teams.
That's actually good. I forgot that he played for Inter.
Okay.
So I retract that.
The clubs are in the right column.
I apologize. But this one, Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, I can't really back
Alright.
that one
Yeah,
up.
okay, cool. And there was another. Was there another? Gerard Moreno. You won the Europa League, Bubba. What are we doing?
He had an unbelievable season
He
in La
won
Liga,
Edouard Mendy won the what? Sorry.
the Champions League.
Okay, cool. So I don't know. Same.
It's a 30-man shortlist.
Same.
You know, I think there's room for Gerard Moreno on this shortlist. I think there are a few players who are a little bit overrated because they play for the big teams.
Say his name.
Mason Mount. Just a little bit. You know, he doesn't even start for Chelsea all the time, so
Yep.
he was good and he was in that England team, I guess, but I don't really see it.
Mm-hmm.
As for the other players on the list, it's not a bad list at all. It's not a bad list, but I think it is skewed towards midfielders.
No one that you want to call out, Josh? No one that you want to call out, just...
I think it would be a big call to leave Cristiano Ronaldo off the Ballon d'Or.
That's not what he
shortlist.
said off camera.
No comment.
Don't know.
So who deserves to win it is the question.
Mo Salah.
Oh, that's recency bias. It's the whole year.
The whole... Okay.
Jorginho?
Who?
Jorginho.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean,
Champions
not
League.
a glamorous player, but remember the last time we had an international tournament?
Mm-hmm.
It was Luka Modric winning the World Cup.
And that's the thing. It doesn't have to be a glamorous player, right?
No.
Because I was going to say Ruben Dias because I was really impressed with how he played for City across that season.
True, but he didn't win anything.
But he didn't win anything. But
Did they win the FA Cup? I can't even remember who won the FA Cup. Who cares?
yeah, I mean, Man City, probably.
Yeah, they didn't. He didn't win an international tournament. They did win the league. To be
No,
fair.
you're right.
He did win the
shouldn't-
Premier
We
League.
shouldn't be confused with who we think the best player is now, which I think is Mo Salah.
Yes, but the thing is, this is the problem with the Ballon d'Or: is it's awarded on a calendar year basis,
Get him.
which is crazy. And also, what about this man Robert Lewandowski? He has the no, not last season, but he has the season of his life. Bayern Munich win the Champions League,
Mhm.
and France football, because Ligue 1 was called off,
Yep.
decide they're not going to award the Ballon d'Or that year. So Robert Lewandowski is robbed of a Ballon d'Or just because these French, these insular people who run this magazine that this award runs through, which is just a crazy system anyway. Obviously, the voting is done by international coaches and journalists and stuff, and it's a good voting system. But they just decided off their own bat that no, it's not worth awarding the Ballon d'Or because Ligue 1 is not complete.
Well, didn't you know that someone from Ligue 1 was going to win it?
Were they?
You didn't get that info.
No, I didn't get the
You got
memo.
plugged into,
No. Okay.
yeah. Sorry about that.
Hey, I mean, PSG did make the Champions League final, so maybe.
I guess so.
I mean, it's totally insane to me that this award is weighted so highly in football discourse. And that's because football discourse on the internet is completely broken.
Yes.
And people look
Found
at
out the player of
individuals.
the month was fan voted.
There we go. The mystery solved from last week.
Yeah.
So I think the sooner that we content ourselves with the Ballon d'Or being a bit of nonsense and a bit of a time filler and not really being that significant, the sooner we can all have happier and more peaceful lives.
You're saying this now until maybe one day the Ballon d'Or invites you to go and cover it.
Oh, 100%. Hey, you know, former FNR employee, Adriano Del Monte, shout out to him.
Yes.
Overdoing the hard yards in Europe away from his family.
Yeah.
And last time he actually hosted the pre-awards, they called it the green carpet because they had AstroTurf instead of a red carpet, which is a very tacky FIFA kind of move.
Yeah, amazing.
But he hosted the awards and interviewed all these amazing coaches and
Adriano,
players. So
I've never met you, but you're killing the game.
there's one hilarious moment though when Messi blanks him.
Oh.
And
Maybe not
we
quite.
did make a Hello Darkness, my old friend, black and white video, which I can send you. Maybe you can put it in the podcast.
Yeah.
He got an interview with Messi after the awards, but beforehand, he tried to stop him, and the little genius just walked straight past.
So maybe the Ballon d'Or does mean something.
Maybe. He was very keen to be in attendance, get to his seat.
Well, look, I just think Edouard Mendy should be on that list. I think there should be, if Donnarumma's on that list, he deserves to be on that list. And, Because what did Donnarumma won the... I know you keep saying, the Euros.
Euro's important.
But yeah.
He saved the penalty.
Yeah.
He didn't even know he'd won. He just walked away like a action hero away from an explosion, and
Yeah, that's cool.
it was cool.
Champions League?
Well, he wasn't in the
What did
champ-
AC Milan finish in the semi?
Hey, third or fourth.
Yeah, okay, so...
Hey, he got his big move. He might win it this time.
PSG?
It's
Liga?
we've got to talk about PSG one of these days, and not just dedicate the whole episode to Manchester United, because I have some thoughts.
Okay.
It'll be good next week, because there'll be some Champions League for us to analyse.
Yes. We have to stop talking about Manchester United and Ronaldo, but it just seems topical.
It is topical. It's all everyone's talking about this week, and honestly, Ryan's exhausted. He's just moved house.
Yeah.
Manchester United is really the only football that he can actually
Can
process or think about at the moment. So it's
but
just got to accommate
and no
this tired
Manchester
boy
United
over
players
here.
on the Ballon d'Or.
Well, why would they be?
Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes is there.
Yes, there is one Manchester United player. That
All right, we better move on before I keep making a fool of myself.
The Ballon d'Or isn't important.
It isn't. It
No,
isn't.
It's a team sport.
It's a team. It is a team sport. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we'll end on this then. Should the GOAT debate, the greatest of all time debate, be dictated by the amount of Ballon d'Ors the players have won?
I mean, it's always a factor, but for me, it's the third, fourth, or fifth column along, because the award is a little bit skewed towards, the big events of that year, like the World Cup and the Euros seem to loom incredibly large, and especially the Euros is slightly unfair because not everyone has the opportunity to compete in the Euros. And something like the Copa America doesn't get the same level of respect.
That's true. I forgot the Copa actually happened.
So, I mean, the GOAT debate is very hard to quantify, and that's why it will never end. It is the unending football argument to end all football arguments. You can have your opinion, but it's impossible to know because, it's a team sport, and there are so many confounding factors at play. But Maradona is the GOAT.
And we're going to move now to Premier League fixtures.
Yes.
Because the Mo Salah Ronaldo debate that caught a bit of fire last week will come to a head this weekend. A glamour fixture between United and Liverpool. But before that, let's talk about the games that come before.
Mm-hmm. Let's see how we went last week.
Oh yeah. Before we do that, how did we go?
Because we've got a kit on the line here.
Yeah.
If people don't know, it's the PFC Vintage Mystery Kit, and the loser buys one for the winner. So it's actually a little season-long wager. We didn't do great last week, I gotta say.
Even before that, I think
I was maybe 3 or 4 points
I
ahead.
think you're 4 points ahead.
Okay, so match day 8.
I haven't won a single.
Watford, Liverpool. We both picked Liverpool.
Yeah.
Southampton, Leeds United. Neither of us picked Southampton.
Yeah.
Norwich, Brighton.
Picked Brighton.
Yeah, we both picked Brighton. That was a draw.
So this is why I don't like this this bloody thing. Because Aston Villa were 2-0 up.
Yes.
And I had the goal rush going, and I was like, amazing. I'm going to get that. And then they conceded 3 goals, including the winner in the 95th minute.
Well, imagine my premature celebrations when I picked a draw and Wolves somehow brought it back to 2-2. And then with literally the last kick of the game, the ball deflects off the wall and goes in and Wolves win. I mean, it's just...
That's all right. Well, anyway.
Football, bloody hell.
We picked United, but we know how that went.
Yeah, look, I think we both learned our lesson from that one. That was instructive.
Yes.
We both picked Man City over Burnley. That's a tick. Chelsea over Brentford was a little hairier than I expected, but Chelsea did get the win. Yeah. Everton, West Ham. You picked a draw.
I picked a draw.
I picked Everton because I did not know Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison were going to miss that game. West Ham won. Shows what we know. We both picked Spurs over Newcastle, and now...
So we're currently tied.
We are tied.
At,
what is that, 3 each?
3 each.
Which, honestly, if we threw a fucking dart at the results, that's the amount of picks we'd end up with.
And
because there are 3 possible results in 10 fixtures, Ryan. So if we get below a 3 average, I think everyone can just stop watching this show. Because we got no idea what we're talking about. But Arsenal, Crystal Palace. I've gone for Arsenal. You've gone for Crystal Palace. Yes. By the time you're watching this, you will know who has won this week.
If I win, I'm cutting the footage here.
Elise, back by Pepe. They're lining up in the middle. Is he going to drop for here? Right.
Celebrating Crystal Palace. But now let's move to match day 9.
Yes.
Because, look, if I don't get one on the board now, it's a long day for me.
Mm-hmm.
And opening up, I feel like an idiot already. Arsenal-Aston Villa, first game of the match week. I've gone Villa.
Again with Villa. You're obsessed with Villa.
I love them.
Buendia, Bailey, Ings.
Yeah, they looked, 2-0 up against Wolves. Look, and
you know what these picks have taught me, and also doing fantasy this year, which is a disaster as always.
Yeah. I don't even do fantasy.
No, I do it for 5 weeks and then I forget about it. That's kind of the universal experience.
Yeah.
Has shown me that new signings are not all they're cracked up to be.
No, 100%.
They take a long time to bed in. And guys like Ben Rama, who I was raving about when he joined mid-season last year, and then he did nothing and barely played. They take time.
Yeah.
Now he's killing it.
Yeah.
I was right. It just took 6 months. So we should stop going crazy about the new signings and
No. I'm just a big fan of John McGinn.
Have you heard the chant about him? The Scotland fans?
Is it bad?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay,
it's
chant.
very fair. It goes, "We've got McGann, Super John McGann." I have to do the accent.
Yeah.
I just don't think you understand. He's Steve Clark's man. He's better than Zidane. We've got Super John McGann.
And based on that channel, I'm not changing it. I'm sticking with Aston Villa.
He did score a good goal. Actually, was it deflected? I think it was.
Just give the man
He
a
just
break.
shoots all the time,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and look, and you've gone Arsenal because...
Because Arsenal are going to win at home because Aston Villa are a very inconsistent team.
Okay, you're a hater.
Chelsea, Norwich.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Surely Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Although Norwich did get a point last week. They've proved it. I mean, we've picked against them nearly every week. You had a little blip at the start, I remember,
Yeah.
where you got sucked in by the Pookie boys.
Yeah. The Pookie blinders.
Pookie blinders. Crystal Palace, Newcastle.
I've gone Crystal Palace.
So have I,
Yeah.
because the money hasn't been spent yet.
No.
And again, new signings. They take a while. Newcastle could get relegated. Wouldn't it be funny? With all that Saudi cash and they went down to the championship.
And then the Saudi owners sell.
Go up the road and buy Sunderland instead. Leeds United, Wolves.
I've gone a draw. I couldn't pick between them.
I've gone Wolves.
Okay.
Leeds are in a bad spot at the moment. I don't know what's going on with Leeds. I could have.
It's Marcelo
Keep it
Bielsa. He never stays this long at a place.
No, he is usually a burner of bridges.
That's right.
But the guy, he's put down roots there now, and they're having a little bit of difficulty. They can't really capture the magic of last season. So I've got to watch Leeds United closely this week and work out what's actually going on there because I haven't watched them in too long. So I've gone Wolves purely based on form.
Purely based on Adama Traore. Just bundling his way forward.
He just never finishes. That's annoying. That's the annoying part about it.
No.
Everton, Watford.
I've gone Everton just because I don't think Watford are in a particularly good spot. They've fired
Dilly ding, dilly dong.
Claudio Ranieri's job's on the line.
Already.
One
Did you see
game.
Fabio Cannavaro in the stands?
No, I didn't.
He was there for the Liverpool game. And all I can think of was that 2010 Nike commercial, the Che Cannavaro, Che Capitano, with the overhead kick.
Yeah, and then Ranieri gestures to him, come on down.
Well,
Put a kid
honestly, Cannavaro is probably going to be the next manager. He's probably just warming up.
That's it.
I've gone Everton as well, for the record.
Well, I mean, I'd be surprised if Watford win. But although I do like Ben Foster's vlogs, so the cycling GK.
He gets a lot of action these days. The ball's always going in his net, hitting the GoPro.
Southampton, Burnley.
Give me the Saints.
I'm taking the Saints. I've gone for a draw, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I could see that being a draw. But
Yeah.
Southampton have been grinding out the wins lately.
Yeah.
And even without James Ward-Prowse. I picked against them last week because they didn't have James Ward-Prowse, and they won anyway.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a shit about this fixture, so we're moving on. Brighton, Man City at the Amex. I've gone Man City.
Yeah, I have gone Man City as well. Although Brighton, I do like Brighton. I say it every week.
No, you and Graham Potter.
I
you're
like
gonna
Graham
brunch
Potter.
together. I
Can
get it.
go talk about XG with Graham Potter.
But you can't look past Man City for that fixture. London Derby. I call it I shouldn't say I'm glad I stopped.
Okay, all right. That's not suitable for the airwaves. You can tell me afterwards. West Ham, Tottenham.
Yeah.
I've gone West Ham.
You've gone West Ham. I've gone Tottenham. This
Yeah.
could be one of the make or break
Yeah.
fixtures.
This is my upset of the week.
I think so. My gut was West Ham because they're at London Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Do you remember what happened last time at White Hart Lane?
Tell us.
Lanzini.
It was a cracker.
It was an absolute belter.
But I'm a big fan of Heung-min Son. You got to stick with your Asian brothers. So I'll
Solidarity.
yeah, that's right. Brentford Leicester.
I've gone for a draw. I couldn't decide. Brentford, they played well against Chelsea. Leicester knocked off United, but then again, United made them look better than they are. It's a Brentford home game. I think it's a draw.
You going draw?
Yes.
I'm going win for Brentford. I've just been
Win
impressed with how
for
they've been playing
Brentford.
at home. Come on, Umbermo, Ivan Toney, Sergi Canos.
I hate that voice you're doing. You've been doing it a lot today.
Names.
You do.
I know the names.
Pontus Janssen.
Pontus. Raya and goal.
I think they're going to get one Pontus this week.
And then Man United. And then the big one, the glamour tie.
Yes.
Manchester United, Liverpool. I've gone Liverpool.
So have I.
Yeah. And you want to know the worst thing is?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to win.
Yeah.
And I've gone Liverpool.
Yeah, so have I.
My dad will be happy.
I can't in good conscience, after what we saw at the King Power, pick Manchester United.
Because how
But there is every chance that Ole digs deep in his ass crack and pulls something out of nowhere.
you know what the worst bit is? If we do win, internally I'll be so torn because I'll be stoked, but I'll be like, fuck, we're in for more of this.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
All right, we better tie it off there, Ryan. It's
Yeah.
getting increasingly
I'm going to tell you the joke that
unhinged.
I'm going to tell you the joke that I was going to say, right? But I'm going to edit it out, and that's how we're going to end this.
You're going to bleep it?
I'm going to just cut it.
Okay.
And then
all right. And then
I'll
cut
cut
my
it,
reaction.
and then cut your reaction straight in.
All right, let's do it. See you next week.